Hey everyone, this is Rock from StageandSky.com, and we need to talk about Lolo Jones. Lolo Jones, and I wouldn't say Venus Williams, because I think she's in the same boat. And let me start it this way, because I want to send positivity their way. Any woman, man or woman, who's trying to live by Christian standards, Bible standards, in this messed up world, they deserve encouragement. They deserve positivity to be flowing their way, because it's not easy. Like, when you're faced with doing things God's way or doing things the world way, if you choose God's way in this world, it's going to be a tougher time. You're going to have hurdles that you have to overcome. And Lolo Jones particularly, she's having a tough time, but I think it's getting a little bit out of control. And men need to step up and be leaders. This is us. All right, this is me. I'm trying to, because a lot of people say, oh, what are solutions for the black community? Calling it out. All right. Calling it out, telling you that this is not good, and passing down the wisdom down to the younger generation so they don't keep making the same mistakes. Okay, Lolo Jones, for those who don't know, she's a sprinter, she's Olympic, she's accomplished a lot of things in her lifetime, same with Venus Williams, but right now Lolo Jones is having a hard time because she just turned 40, and she's talking about, man, she really wants a family, she really wants a family, she really wants children, and it makes sense. All the feminism in the world does not equate, it doesn't make up for anyone's lack of family. When women say, oh, well, men need to step up and protect us, especially black women. Oh, men need to step up. It's like, where's your husband at? Where's your boyfriend at? Oh, I don't have that. I don't need no man. Those are the guys who will step up and protect you. Like, you can't expect some black man who just happened to be the same skin color to see you and be like, okay, you're black too, I need to step up and protect you, total stranger who, I don't know. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. So family is important. Like, when you get married, your man, your husband, it will step up and protect you. Your sons will grow up to step up and protect you. You can't expect society. So Lolo Jones, I think, is smart enough to understand that. And for her to want a husband, Lolo Jones, for those who don't know, Lolo Jones and Venus, they both claim to be virgins. They're both claim to be virgins who are waiting until marriage to have sex. All power to them. That's good. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what the Bible scriptures tell us. And 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11 tells us that sexual immorality, the hookup culture, is wrong. People who have sex outside of marriage, it's wrong. I have commenters who sometimes say, oh, there's nothing wrong with that because you don't know the Bible. Either that or you don't believe. And if you don't, all power to you, and you have free will, but you will be judged accordingly. The title of this video is, Are They a Cautionary Tale? And I hate to say that because it's like, I don't want to insult them, but at the same time, there are lessons to be learned here. First off, again, I hope that they find someone, but if they don't, all right, so let's start with Lolo Jones. Lolo Jones came across my radar a couple of months ago when Essence posted an article about her where she said that she's tired of, because she's a virgin, she's waiting until marriage to have sex, and she's tired of looking for a guy or waiting for a guy to commit to her and get married to her because she doesn't put out, In the post, she said, tonight I blocked a guy who was talking to her for 8 months. My heart just couldn't take it anymore. He gave me mixed signals. He would talk about marriage and kids, but then keep me in the friend zone. He would never make time to see me. My heart is so heavy. I'm exhausted with the dating life. I have continually asked God to honor me with the godly men. Remember that, godly man. I have continued to ask God to honor me with the godly man. I have prayed for years with many tears for God to please allow me to find my husband. Ladies, here's my problem with that. I'm gonna say something that a lot of men probably won't even agree with me here, because a lot of men probably don't know the scriptures. And I'm not saying that if you disagree with me, you don't know the scriptures. I'm just putting this out there. We can have put it down in the comment section. We can talk about it. Godly men don't care about money. Godly men don't care about worldly finances, worldly success, worldly accolades. We do our best. There's a proverb that says, idle hands create poverty, diligent hands create riches. So we're hard workers. Our mission in life as Christians is to seek first the kingdom of heaven. So number one priority as a godly man is the kingdom of heaven. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because a lot of women, for the ladies I match with or I see online, like when you look at their hobbies or what they like to do for fun, even the ones I matched with last year, who claim to be Christian, they like to do things like, they say, oh, I like to travel, I like to go to festivals, I like to do this. And a lot of things that cost money. And there's not wrong with that. Like, the fruits of our labor is a blessing from God, right? But as men, godly men, again, we focus on the kingdom of heaven, we focus on our future family. When I was in my 20s, I busted my ass to build a financial foundation by which I could start a family. That was my priority. I'm thinking about family. I'm not thinking about traveling the world. I can do that when I have my family, but first and foremost, it's the family. A lot of us men think that way. And sad to say, a lot of ladies I've seen, especially Christian ladies, I think they're really enamored by the social media lifestyle. They see their friends traveling and they think, okay, we'll travel the world, and rack up all this debt. And it's just not good. All right. Why is that important? Why are you bringing that up? Well, here's my problem with Lolo Jones and, Venus Williams. I don't believe for 1 second, 1 nanosecond, that in your 40 years of life, you didn't have one Christian man in your 20s who wanted to be with you, who was willing to wait till marriage to have sex with you. You trying to tell me there was no guy? None? There was no prospects? Because the reason why this upsets me is because you're saying that, the problem is that there's no godly men, or there's not enough godly men, or she's having a hard time finding godly men. And I don't respect that. I think I would have greater respect for anyone, man or woman, if you just own your decisions, right? Lolo Jones and Venus Williams, they are in shape sisters. They beautiful. I think they're still beautiful now, no lie. But I want to get married and have children. Your chances of having my children and help me create my family, it declines the older you get as a woman. People keep throwing out the window. They keep glossing over it. Right now, Lolo Jones doing IVF, which I don't think is good because the husband's not there, and the problem is that message isn't being passed on to the younger generation. I matched with a couple of ladies back last year, and they both claim to be Christians. They're both 26. They're both in the medical field. And basically what their problem was the same what I see with Lolo Jones and Venus Williams. The issue I see, my theory, I could be wrong. Let's talk about it. Put it down in the comment section. Is that women are prioritizing their careers over husband and family. Women are especially black women. Well, you know what? I'm not saying if black women or white women. I'm black, so my chances of getting married is going to be probably with the black woman, unless a white woman just, is very assertive and scoops me up. But they prioritize their careers over a husband and getting a family, right? She says, I've been looking for a man for so many years. Or this guy gave me too many mixed signals, kept me in the friend zone. He would never make time for me. Ladies, all right, this is going to be hard to hear. So I'm just going to say it. Men are supposed to be leaders, right? Men are supposed to be leaders. And there's so many scriptures that says when you get married, the man's supposed to be the head of the household. That means he's going this way. He can listen to his wife, and we're supposed to consider them and understand them and as a weaker vessel. But the man leads, right? So if you're a Christian woman, you say you want a godly man, you follow. I know in today's society that doesn't compute, but you follow. So if the man you want, right, Lolo Jones, if she found a Christian man in her 20s, I suspect that basically she saw Christian men, but they were going this way, but her career as an Olympian was going this way, so she chose her career. Same with Venus Williams, and they've done amazing things. Same with the ladies who I matched with who are in the medical field.
The craziest, saddest thought. I'm in the stage of life where I'm watching all my friends get married and have babies and find love, and I had another talking phase yet again fall through.
So this woman right here, she ended up getting a lot of views. People started giving her advice, and this is what she responded with.
When it comes to dating, I've gotten this comment so many times. I feel like as women, we're taught to uproot our lives and go look for a man. Maybe I got a career to think about. No. One that I could only do in California. Crazy thought, we could just tell men to do better.
Alrighty then, and this is why I continue to say that you cannot mold stale bread. Most women over 30 and even some in their late 20s, they're very stubborn and there's nothing you can do to change them. Now, they may be able to make temporary changes, but at the end of the day, they're going to be who they are.
And it's the same with the ladies in the medical field that I was talking to, if they really wanted a husband, they can get a husband, but medical field is very tough. You have to put or prioritize your career and advancing in that field of study. Like, you've already poured so much money and investments in your education, so to push that aside for a man, I imagine it's very tough, so Here's what I would respect. Here's where I would have loved Lolo Jones and Venus Williams to say, instead of going with the message of, godly men, I'm having a hard time finding godly men, or the problem is that I'm a virgin waiting until marriage to have sex, and there's not enough men who are willing to do that. First off, it makes sense why there's not enough men willing to do that. When you're in your 40s, again, I've already mentioned it. Your chances of having a family is slim. So a man who wants to have a family, they're not going to want to invest too much time in you because you're past childbearing age. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. There are exceptions to the rule, but more likely a logical man is going to want someone who's younger and more fertile. That's one. Number two, if you are a Christian woman and you are, you say that you're putting God first, and that's what it is, really. There are those who say they're godly women or they're Christian, but they really don't put God first. If you put God first, then God's desires would be over your own. Like her saying that she wants to do IVF, Lolo Jones, that's not putting God first, because for children and family, you get married first. Then you have a wife and a husband in the family, and then you have children, right? But because she's not getting the husband, she's going to skip the husband part and just go to IVF. I just had a video about Saul. Saul's problem was that he lacked patience, right? Because God wasn't answering him. He went to a seer, a medium, and he just lack of patience. It's foolishness, right? I would have had greater respect for Lolo Jones and Venus Williams instead of blaming men, instead of saying, oh, well, there's not enough godly men, if they took ownership of their decisions, right? If you admitted that in my 20s, I prioritized my career. In my 30s, I prioritized my career. I wanted to win the Grand Slam in tennis. I wanted to get the gold medal as an Olympian, and that was more important to me than my husband and family. If you came out and said that, and then you said, even then, because Lolo Jones does a lot of crying in her videos, if you said that and then you followed up with, but you know what? I made my decisions. I'm a Christian. As long as I endure to the end, trying to do what's good in God's eyes, I'm saved. I have a place in everlasting life. I have a place in the kingdom of heaven. I would have been like, all power to you. GoFundMe, whatever. I would have supported that. I would have shared and replayed that message for everyone to hear, because you're taking ownership. And honestly, that's life. Every single person, man and women, they have choices in life. If you choose to have a family, then the wisdom would be to prioritize it when you're younger, when you have more fertile and you're more beautiful. Beauty doesn't last forever, it fades. And when I say beauty doesn't last forever, I'm saying that when you're younger, your beauty is at its peak. So your ability to catch a man, because it's pleasing to the eye. None of us are blind, except Ray Charles and those who are actually blind. But your chances are better when you're younger and you have that beauty. And then when you get married, the love manifests. Then it doesn't matter how much your beauty fades to other people. To your man, to your husband, he still sees you as beautiful because he loves you. But if you don't snag him when your beauty is at its peak, it's gonna fade. So the older you get, that man, I'm about to turn 36, my taste of women is still, youth, beauty, and fertility, as Kevin Samuels was trying to tell people, but people won't listen. The reason why I'm really pushing Lolo Jones and Venus Williams and how I would have respected them if they took ownership is because they really do need to be teaching the younger women. Like, instead of saying, oh, well, the problem is godly men, the problem is you made your choice and now you're living with the consequences of it. And if you don't like your consequences, share that knowledge with the younger women, right? But like I said, I matched with the doctors, and they're still raised with this mentality of putting their careers first. Okay, I'm putting my career first all during my 20s, and then when I get around 30, 35, then I'm going to look for a man. And let's not pretend that during that time you're just going to stay celibate, right? Let's not pretend that during that time you're not going to have one-night stands and engage in hookup culture. I'm not talking about everyone, but I'm talking about most people. Like Venus Williams and Lolo Jones, they're Christians, right? So they're, practicing, celibacy and being a virgin. The Christians I match with, put that in quotes, who claim to be Christians, they're not virgins. They're having sex. They're engaged in worldly activity. They do brunch. They're followers of their herd more so than followers of Christ. Why is that important? Well, let's talk about Titus, right? So in Titus chapter 2, it talks about in chapter 3, first off, it says the same thing with men. Older men should be teaching younger men to be, sober-minded, dignified, self-controlled, sound in faith and love, and steadfastness. Yes, because you have to put that in there. Women always say, well, what about men? What are you gonna... Yeah, there's always the what about it. Okay. Older women, likewise, this is verse 3, Titus chapter 2, verse 3, older women likewise are to be reverent in behavior, not slanderers or slaves to much wine, meaning don't get drunk, twerking all up in restaurants. They are to teach what is good, and so train the young women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled, pure, working at home, kind, and submissive to their own husband, that the word of God may not be reviled. In the black community, do you see any of that happening? I think there are like platforms like YouTube, where there are other women who are stepping up trying to, preach that message to young women. But even there, because Satan's world's so dominated, they're called pick-me's. And, oh, you're just, catering to men. You're bashing black women. The reason why men and women, they're going so hard on the young women when it comes to dating and marriage these days is because they have more power than they realize, right? They pick and choose which mate they want to go with. They're the gatekeepers of sex. People have been saying it. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of relationships and commitment, So if you meet us, it's your beauty that attracts us. But if your personality isn't there, if you have horrible values, because men, especially godly men, we're thinking about our children before you even get married, right? We're thinking, is this going to be not just a faithful wife to us who, oh, I didn't know it was a problem to bring a man into our home and, to go on girls' night, we're not, that's one thing we're thinking about, but we're also thinking about our children. Are you going to be a good mother to our children? And a lot of women, they just simply aren't taught that. They used to be, but now they're being taught to be more like men. And we can't both be quarterbacks, someone needs to lead, someone needs to follow. And those who are very influenced by today's world and modern culture, because here you'll have the hyperbole, it's like, oh, so basically you want a slave, all that nonsense, those who give their lives to God, those who claim to be godly Christian women, even if the world is telling you, oh, well, men just want slaves, these Christian men just want, what is the Bible telling you? What does the Bible tell you to do? So if you claim to be Christian, your faith would demonstrate that. So even if the world is saying, oh, well, the Bible tells you that they're trying to make you slave and they're trying to make you property, what's the God telling you? Your faith in God would demonstrate that, okay, I hear what the world is saying. That does sound kind of right, but still, my faith and my trust is in God, so I'm going to do what the Bible tells me to do. That's really what I wanted to say because, all right, so yeah, full disclosure, I'm about to turn 36 next week. I am a virgin. I've been a virgin my whole life, never had sex. I have been with women, I've slept in beds with like ex-girlfriends, but I've never had sex because I believe in waiting till marriage to have sex, all right? I have met other Christian women who claim to be Christian, but they have had sex, and it wasn't, because I can't speak on that allure, right? Like once you have sex, I can't say, oh, well, it's too powerful, like you can't control yourself, but either that or I'm just too damn good looking. But it was tough for the ladies around in my life, like for them to wait until marriage, because it is a process, right? I meet you, there's like a 6 months process of getting to know you, courtship, and see until I'm ready to say, okay, you're worthy, I trust you to put a ring on your finger. And then after that is another 6 months to marriage, so we can get the wedding all situated. That's a long time to be celibate if you've already had sex, right? And then the scriptures there, pure, that matters. A lot of people have been talking about on the manosphere lately the body count. A lot of women are racking up body counts because they have no clue what that does to you. They've been told, oh, well, men can do it. First off, not all men do it. As I mentioned, I'm a virgin. There are more male versions than female versions. I don't have the statistics, but logic and common sense would dictate that because, again, women are the gatekeepers of sex. If you can walk into any bar as a woman and says, who want to have sex with me? And then you'll probably have 3 guys raise their hand. Whereas a man walk into a bar and says, hey, who wants to have sex with me? No one's going to raise their hand. Not even the women. Even if they really want to have sex with them, because they're susceptible to the whims of the herd. They're vulnerable to the approval, the acceptance of the herd, right? So even if you want to do, I really want to have sex with them, what are your girlfriends going to think? That's more important. It's sad to say, but women, there's a saying that men benefit from competition, women benefit from cooperation. So women are more dependent on the village or her. That's why a lot of women vote a certain way for to have more government in their lives. Whereas women who have a husband, a stable husband who's providing right there in the family, they don't need government in their lives. So which way do they vote? Republican. All right, so just wanted to put that out there. Again, I really hope Lolo Jones and Venus Williams, they find what they're looking for. I have respect for any woman, even if you did have a trashy past and you've messed up and you've fallen down and you lived that life, that city life, if you repented, my heart goes out to you. But at the same time, you got to live with the consequences of your mistakes. The consequences is your chances of finding a good godly man, right? I'm not saying that even me as a godly man, I'm not saying that I would never take a chance. I'm not saying at all. You never know. Like if I meet a woman who had a 3 or 4 lifestyle in the past, but she seems reformed, she's convinced me that she's not the same person. If she's done, I hate to say it, she's taken STD tests, and she's still young enough to have my children, I would take a chance on her, and God knows I'm very selective, so before I even say, okay, I'll put a ring on it, I would have vetted her from here to kingdom come, but to say that I would never take a chance, and there's a lot of people who think in the absolutes like that, but I think they're very short-sighted and narrow-minded, and you never know, you really never know, all right? So my heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to all Christians trying to live a Christian lifestyle in this wicked world and society. But really, we need to call this out. We need to spread the message. And if I'm wrong, let's talk about it. Put it down in the scriptures. Put it down in the comments below. All right? Thanks.